What is up, you guys? Marty McFly coming at you, bringing you guys the merch. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone's taking care of each other out there. I'm noticing more and more every day, man. The longer that time goes by, the more I really feel like we need to look out for just looking out for one another. You know what I mean? And apart from just the heavy metal community, I feel like the heavy metal community, we do a good job of taking care of each other. And yeah, maybe we get into heated and pleasant debates over which band was better, which era of the band was better, which songs suck, which ones are terrible, which lead singers are awful, and who's giant dirtbags. Of course, I think we can all agree that Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse pretty much sucks, but that's a different story altogether. I'm pretty sure I just offended half of YouTube. Oh well. But in spite of that, I feel like the heavy metal community does a really good job of looking out for one another and helping each other and picking up that guy when he falls down. The reason I say this is I just got back from a conference where, everyone's having a good time. Everyone is learning, everyone's actively participating, everyone is showing their interest, and there's always got to be one person that's just a giant D-bag, and it sucks. Like, everyone's having a good time but you. And instead of labeling this kid, I'm not gonna name the Middle Eastern country he's from. I don't feel like pigeonholing an entire nation based on one kid, but it's just everyone's having a good time but you. And it's just really weird how other countries, people, whatever, I don't even think it's other countries. I think it's just some people just suck. And, like I said, I'm not gonna label what country this kid came from, but it is really weird when I hear someone trash Americans or trash Caucasian Americans in specific, which is what the debate was about. He basically just had some not very nice things to say about Caucasian Americans. He pigeonholed an entire ethnicity and just said some not very nice stuff. And you know what, man? It didn't need to happen. Like, keep it to yourself. If you're a dick, keep it in your head. I don't know. I don't really know how else to... it's just unfortunate. Everyone's having a good time except for one kid. And, this guy's like 30, so I guess he's not really a kid, but... it's just weird, like, how you can pigeonhole an entire ethnicity based on what your worldview is and where you came from. I don't know, man, but if you're in Florida, you're living in the United States, man, open up your eyes, go touch some grass, maybe leave TikTok for more than 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It just sucks because, you know what? A couple minutes later, everyone was kind of staring at this guy really awkwardly and be like, dude, what's your problem? Like, it's not really appropriate. It's not very nice. Just be nice. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to is just, I thought about this long after, and I was like, you know what? Just be nice. Holy macaroni. I mean, that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. And you know what? I am not perfect. I am guilty of having a thick-headed Irish temper sometimes, but I will say I've learned from my own personal mistakes about whatever mistakes I've made in the past, and I've learned this. It comes down to the same thing, though. Just be nice. You know what? Even if someone says that 2 + 2 is 7, sometimes you just gotta nod your head and be like, alright, cool. You know what? I'm still gonna be nice and whatever. It's just what it comes down to. And I do feel like where I work at especially, we've had some problems with people that were not nice, and it's really affects how a team works, especially in a hospital or clinic or anything. Being nice, and if you don't understand something or you're frustrated or you're angry, and asking for help or getting the group together to solve a problem and being nice goes for miles farther than anything else does, and I see it every day. And the nicer my crew is, the nicer I want to be, the better person I want to be. And I mean, there's really no better way I could explain this than my first experience going to Ireland. If you go to Ireland, everyone there is nice. Everyone will give you directions to where you need to go. No one's going to give you the runaround or try and get you in trouble, trying to get you stabbed. Everyone there is nice. When I opened the door to a pub at the same time as another person, I got 38 thank yous and I'm sorries before we actually got through the door. And I will say, experiencing that at the local Irish pub that's near me, that's owned by a couple of Dubliners, it makes me want to be a better person. And you know what? I just having those experiences, it makes me want to be even nicer. Even when I'm mad, even when I'm upset, it makes me want to be nicer because I really feel like it does make the world go around better. I'm sorry for like all these horrible, analogies I'm making, but it really does at the end of the day. So, in spirit of being nice, we're going to talk about some merch. And I am sorry for, all of that, but it's something I feel like I had to say because I just got back after a conference. I went to go see OCEANO play late at night after the conference had already finished for the day. I took an Uber, went to go see OCEANO play with Victims and To the Grave, and I still believe in my bones that maybe heavy metal is like the last bastion of mankind getting together, beating their chest, sweating, linking arms, linking hands, and just, belting it out, just solving their worldview problems together. Because you know what, I looked at that community, at that show, played at Respectables in West Palm Beach, and I looked at all these bands coming up from all different backgrounds, different members of society, different income classes, whatever you want to call it. And I just see all these people going and sweating together, banging their heads together, linking arms, moshing together. I didn't even see a single fight, you know what I mean? Like, even the pit fights were like, everyone was hugging each other afterwards like big teddy bears. And I just look around at this, and I was like, this is like the last bastion of mankind getting together, beating their chest, and coming together and really putting everything else behind them, and putting behind all their problems, their worries, the things that scare them, the things that bother them, all the stuff that's going around in the world, in the country, down our street, and really putting all that away. And I really feel like heavy metal is time and time again, it's forever, it's universal, it's really where mankind, I feel like, gets together and just comes together as brothers, man. And I'm really glad to see that, because after hearing this kid, the things he was saying, and pigeonholing different ethnicities, and pigeonholing Caucasian Americans based on his worldview, and saying all these horrible, nasty things, and everyone's having a good time, and then I go to this metal show with OCEANO and Victims, everyone's screaming their hearts out, people are like crying after the show is over. I met all the lead singers, you know what, I hung out with, especially like John from Victims, great guy, I've seen him every time Victims comes to Florida. Meredith, I'm so glad you're doing better. I heard that, on Instagram that you got sick and you were in the hospital for a while. I'm really glad Meredith, the drummer's doing better. Go give her a like. Go give her a shout on an Insta or YouTube or something for what that girl's been through. And she still goes out and drums and does tours. Good for her, man. You have my respect. I would share a foxhole with you any day. Really nice girl. She signed some of my stuff, took a picture with me, and it really just an awesome group of human beings. She's awesome, John's awesome. I met the guys from OCEANO, shook hands, took pictures with them, just really nice people, man. And and that really showed me this is where the last bastion of mankind is, where we get together and we solve our problems together and we put everything else aside, whatever's going on, and that's why metal's forever, man. So I really think, time and time again, metal's really shown that it's a community, we're all together. We all come from different backgrounds, and it really is. I'm more than grateful every day that I still have heavy metal in my life, and the people, and how much it changes how I feel about the world, because there's a lot of scary stuff, man. You watch the news, you're going to be chronically miserable, you're going to be chronically sad, and going to that show just shows me time and time again how happy it makes me to be a metalhead. And on that note, allow me to be nice, and let's talk about some merch, alright? Sorry for the long rant. I just feel like it's something I wanted to get off my chest and talk to you guys about, because this is real stuff that we deal with every day, and at the end of the day, we're all here for the same reason. We only get one life. It's short. It flies by quick. And you want to enjoy it, but I don't want to enjoy it if it means hurting someone else. And I would rather just do what I do, man. Go to work, feed the family, listen to death metal, play some Cannibal Corpse, or play some black metal, play some Immortal, which I was playing all day today, and just trying to enjoy what little I can get out of, what little and what most I can get out of life at the same time. So let's talk about some merch. So I was over in Melbourne, Florida today. There is several delightful record stores in Melbourne, Florida. One of them being the 518 Underground. The reason I say this is because this is in the O'Galley Arts District, and I feel like the 518 Underground, Iron Oak, or the Iron Post, Iron Oak, yeah, it's over there in West Melbourne, downtown Melbourne. It's a really cool little strip. You got 518 Underground, and then you got, is it Vinyl Fever? No, not Vinyl Fever. That closed down in St. Petersburg years ago. Savvy Vinyl. It's right off the US 1. You got three great places to look at. The Iron Oak is playing like a lot of hardcore metal, punk, a lot of cover bands where bands can really learn, like really get their chops up. And you know what? I think, just the record selection alone at 518 Underground, a lot of punk, a lot of hardcore, a lot of metal, a lot of classic stuff, a lot of like 7 inches, a lot of skate stuff. If you're into skating, I got a couple decks here with me. I still skate. It's nice to get your hair and get wind in your face every once in a while. And the 518 Underground is really shaping Melbourne and bringing music back, because if you look at Melbourne historically, they used to have better shows than like Orlando back in the day. You had the Power Station back in Melbourne, which used to play like Iron Maiden, Sabotage, Judas Priest. They used to have Van Halen. They used to have Stryper. They used to have Poison. Everybody used to go to the Power Station. And then for a while, you had the Sanctuary, which used to play a lot of shows. And then when I was growing up, if you go back to Melbourne, we had the Melbourne JCs, Junior Chamber Commons, which is a little garage with no air conditioning, where they used to play bands all the time. We used to play Evergreen Terrace and Dr. Acula when they were really coming up. We used to get shows all the time. And of course, Melbourne satellite locals, you had like Bravo Armada, you had Lydia Can't Breathe. You had a lot of bands playing these small venues. And you had the King Center, of course. You had a couple other venues outside the area, but my dad played golf with Metallica in Melbourne, Florida. Like, there's a lot of big names. Like, the guys from Poison, the guys from Backstreet Boys live in Melbourne. Like, there's a lot of music there. And I feel like, for a while, there was a deficit in music in Melbourne, Florida, as far as heavy music goes. And these guys at the 518 Underground, great skate shop. They'll repair your boards. They'll give you new decks, wheels, whatever. The lead guitarist I met, he's the lead guitarist for the band Cold Side. Really great dude, really nice. He's the guy that's bringing like bands like Madball and Cro-Mags into town. They're playing over at Pineapples now. So these guys are really the O'Galley Arts District. They're really bringing the music back. So the reason I say that is because we got a couple shows coming up. He gave me some flyers, and I don't live there. I don't live in that area, but I will drive down for this. So of course, Black and Blue Productions, 518 Underground. We got Madball, Death Before Dishonor, Vietnam, Exit Strategy. So, you have some incredible acts playing here, man. And, it's absolutely outstanding. So I can't wait to see what these guys do. Especially to go see Madball in Melbourne, Florida. Holy macaroni. So these guys are playing over at, Pineapples. So Madball, Vietnam, Death Before Dishonor, Exit Strategy. It's going to be a great show. 518 Underground presents a massive day-long show. They said they're going to have half pipe for all the skaters. They try to, there's some sponsored skaters that play over in the area. But you got 518 Underground with Negative Approach. You got Zero Boys. You got Cold Side, Vicious Blade. Antagonizer. There's a lot of bands on this thing. Sorry if I didn't mention everybody. But this is going to be over. In Melbourne, Florida, man. So they got shows up the wazoo. And then we got another one coming up, and this is wow, I've never even actually knew who this was, but this is something new. So we got 518 Underground presents Easy Action, the Easy Uzis, Mass Panic, members of Negative Approach, and then the Abra. This is Friday, November 8th. So I'm going to list these down below. And forgive me, I completely forgot to turn my camera around, which really sucks. So unfortunately, half our video is going to be backwards. But I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys, because I'm really glad what these guys are doing. So let's get this one underway. 519 Underground, they had a great record selection, reasonably priced. They got some goodies in there, some really rare shit. That's like $40-50. But I was really happy to kind of bring these home. I've been wanting to bring them home for a while, and I eventually just said, screw it, we'll just do it. Confessions of a Traitor. This is Punishing Myself Before God Does. Actually, a really reasonable price. It's like 17, 20, 22 bucks on Amazon. This is 22 here. pretty happy to have this. Is off of Face Down Records. Face Down Records 2022 for when this record came out. If you're not familiar with Face Down, they used to get a lot of great hardcore acts, a couple Christian bands on there. Face Down Records, man, they got some great stuff on there. If you haven't checked them out, I used to get their samplers all the time. This is pre-Spotify, pre-Amazon MP3, pre-Tidal. At that point, I'm still buying CDs. I'm still using Amazon MP3 for bands I can't find on CD. And Face Down Records used to do these samplers all the time. You go to their website, download these sample albums with like 30 songs on them, and they'd be free. And that's how I get hooked on more bands. So Confessions of a Traitor, Punishing Myself Before God Does. Really a fun record, man. This reminds me of like a little bit of like that Wage War sound with the guitars. You got some cleans, you got some heavies. This reminds me of a really good crossover between, if you like Hollow Front and Wage War. I would say that's a pretty good crossover sound for what they sound like. All the songs on here are excellent. The opening track, Punishing Myself Before God Does, is a heater. Just balls to the wall, in your, like, just breaking your face, heavy. There's some really, oh my god, Forever Hollow, Peacekeeper. Forever Hollow's actually got Brian Will of Currents on there, but Peacekeeper. Every song on here is really good. I don't think there's any skippable songs. I don't think there's any filler. Every song is just perfectly chosen for this record. And it's a good time. I think it was worth the price at the end of the day. You get really good songs. I can't wait to start playing this. And I'm really happy to have this in the collection finally. And last but not least, you know, my brother, he's the one who has the most of this collection. And he gave them to me, got a new record player, and then kind of took back his collection, which really bummed me out. But he left me with a lot of really good stuff. The only thing he did take back, though, was his Black Sabbath collection, because he's got first presses of every Sabbath record ever made. And you know what? I wanted to make my own. I was like, I'm tired of waiting. I have the first 3 on first press on vinyl. And this is when I saw it at 518 Underground. And, you know, it's beaten up pretty good, but the vinyl still plays. The owner told me he got it from his personal collection. He gave it to his friend, and his friend screwed up the cover really bad. But to be honest with you, that doesn't bother me. I like used copies of vinyl because it tells a story, right? And there's a little bit of aging to it, and I feel like it makes my listening experience that much more fun. So this, of course, is Black Sabbath, Mob Rules. This came out in 1981. This is a first press, and we checked it through the sleeve cover and all that stuff. This is, of course, Warner Brothers Records. If you are a Black Sabbath fan, I feel like everyone has their own era, and I do enjoy Mob Rules era Sabbath. I will say I am an Aussie guy, First Three Records. That is me. That is like the Sabbath that I remember growing up with, and I love every era. Don't get me wrong. I mean, whether it's going to be like Tony Martin or if it's going to be Dio, rest in peace. And I do enjoy Mob Rules, though. I think everybody does. It's a fantastic album from Sabbath. I mean, I was rewatching Metal Headbangers Journey the other day, and I watched it a couple times a year because I just love watching it. But this is another one of those records where you really see like the impact that Sabbath had on the rest of the developing heavy metal world. You know what I mean? So, Mob Rules, Black Sabbath, 1981, fantastic record. Like I said, I love every era from this band, but this cover, everyone knows this cover, and everyone knows this record if you're a Sabbath fan. Really glad to have it. It is beaten up, it's a little torn right here, but for $12, it really didn't bother me. I'm just happy to have a first press, because like I said, it tells a story. It smells good. I mean, I know it smells like a used book, or like an old book that you found in an old store, and that's what it smells like. It doesn't smell like cigars or cigarettes or trash. No, it actually smells good. So, Sabbath, Mob Rules. And, of course, Confessions of a Traitor, Punishing Myself Before God Does. I'm going to list those down below. I hope you guys are doing alright out there. I hope you guys are taking care of each other. And if you're running into problems where you feel like the world doesn't understand you, or if you feel like the world's punishing you, and you feel like down all the time, just like, comment, subscribe down below, man, or just send me a message, or just put something down below just saying, hey, the world's been cruel to me too. The world hasn't been nice. The world sucks. It's pissing me off. It's punishing me. And, you know, I think I think I understand. I know what it feels like, 100%. I know exactly what that feels like, and if you do feel that way, I am sorry too, because we get one life, it's short, and I don't want anyone to have to feel that way. So, if you're feeling down, feel like God's punishing you, feel like the world's punishing you, or if you feel like people just don't understand, or people just aren't being nice, let me know, man. Just type down below, and be happy to reach out to you. We can talk, we can discourse, we can just have a good time. You know, I'm really glad for that OCEANO show with Victims and To the Grave. What a great show. And like I said, it's really where you get to see the rest of this last little bastion of mankind really just getting together, beating their chest, and putting all their problems behind them, and linking together as one, and just becoming human again. So, be nice, you know? At the end of the day, that's all we can really say. It's just, I try to be a better person even when I screw up, and whatever, I screw up like everybody else. But maybe if we were all a little nicer to each other, maybe things wouldn't hurt so bad. But in the meantime, my friends, take care of each other, take care of yourselves. Give your brother a hand up. When he falls down in the pit, pick him up. Put a hand on the shoulder of a friend who's struggling. Tell each other it's going to be okay. Push them to become better versions of themselves. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.